Hello everybody and welcome to this video from Bikotic. It's going to be a quick one today because it's been a super busy week. And today we're going to compare an expensive Reacto to a cheap Reacto. I say cheap, relatively cheap anyway. Just before we get going on this, there's just something I wanted to discuss regarding Specialized S-Works Tarmac, and it does have some relevance to the Reacto, as you'll see in a little bit. I was on Specialized US website the other day and noticed that they have a new Dura-Ace Di2 version of the Tarmac. Now I can't see it on the UK website, but on the US website it's gone up $1,000 to $14,000. Now assuming that the UK website follows suit, we'll probably go from 11,500 to my guess 12,500 for this new Dura-Ace version. Wowza, 12,500 quid. Now remember that number when we have a look at the Reacto in a minute. There are a few things I noticed on this new Dura-Ace version of the Tarmac. Number one, the junction box appears to have gone from the back of the seat post, which is a good thing in my opinion. The other thing I noticed was that if we zoom in on the handlebars here, compare it to the old version, they look different, but I think it's just the angle of the photograph. In the details for this new bike, they're called Roval Rapide handlebars, and on the old bike, they're called the S-Works Aerofly 2 handlebars. But looking at the photos on the websites of just the handlebars, I think they are exactly the same. Correct me if I'm wrong. Another thing that interested me was looking at the brake calipers. I couldn't see the ice fins on here, like we had on the previous version. And looking on the Shimano website, it looks like nothing's changed with regard to the pads on these brakes. You can use them with or without fins. And it's the same, incredibly hard to get hold of at the moment, disc pads for both versions. And the only other thing to mention I could see is it does appear that there's a bit of the frame missing behind this crankset. If we just fade through to the old one, you can clearly see that there. I'm assuming that the crankset must have been photoshopped on and the Photoshop guy has forgotten to put that bit of the frame back in. That's my guess there. Specialized don't use the Dura-Ace power meter, they use this one here. But how do you say that? Is that 4i or is it just 4i power meter? If you know, put it in the comments down below because I don't actually know how you say that. One last thing on the Tarmac, I know I promised this video was about the Reacto, was that looking on the Specialized website, this popped up. Oh my gosh. Specialized, what is going on? This is the Speed of Light collection, and amazingly this is another $1,000. That's $15,000. But I find this very bizarre to look at. And if we get the marketing bump up for this, darkness, light, speed, three elements so intertwined they cannot exist without the other. I'm not going to read it all out, pause it and have a read. This really is some of the biggest gobblers I've ever read to create our most stunning collection ever. I think it looks revolting. In fact, the first thing I thought of was one of those bizarre bikes on eBay that you can buy that looked like it was designed by a lunatic. So no, sorry Specialized, I'm not into that, and I'm certainly not into that price. I mean, you're having a laugh. You're having a laugh at 14,000, let alone 15,000. Good grief. Okay, so let's actually get to the job in hand. The Merida Reacto. Now this is the outgoing version, the Team E, £9,000 Dura-Ace Di2. Merida have released a new Team Reacto, and here it is. It's got the new team colours of Bahrain Victorious. And thanks to Bobby, who commented the other day and let me know that Merida had put these pictures up. It's always handy when you guys let me know when something new's happened, because sometimes it doesn't always pop up on my feeds. Now if we fade between the two, I think they're basically exactly the same other than the new Dura-Ace group set. I can't see any other changes. We've got the longer Dura-Ace shifters on there. But apart from that, that all looks the same. Obviously got the new drivetrain. There's the old one and the new one. Ah, actually there is a difference. The wheels are now the Vision Metron 60s, whereas before they were the 55. So very slightly deeper there, as you can see, fading between the two. Now I made a video the other day about the new Sculptura, and if I fade through to that, you can see it's the same paint scheme. Got the different handlebar setup on the Sculptura. It's actually the Vision setup on the Reacto. Sculptura's got a round seat post, and the Reacto's got its aero one. Obviously the Reacto is Merida's aero bike, and the Sculptura the lightweight climbing all-round bike. Personally, I like the Reacto and quite fancy one. However, where I live, which is quite hilly, I would always go for the Sculptura if I was going to go for one of these. It just makes much more sense where I live. So there we go. Do you remember that price I told you to remember for the Specialized Tarmac, which was $14,000, or what I'm expecting to be £12,500? Well, the outgoing Reacto Team E was £9,000, so a bit cheaper than the Tarmac. But what has amazed me is that Merida have released the new Reacto and it's £8,300. So it's actually £700 cheaper than the outgoing model. Now, fair play to Merida. When Specialized seem to be putting their prices up almost twice a week, Merida have actually reduced the price of their new version. Quite pleased to see that. So along with this team version of the Reacto, Merida have also added the Reacto 5000 to the UK website, which has the same paint scheme, and this comes in at $2,550. So when I referred to expensive versus cheap, this is the expensive one, obviously, the team. And then this one, the 5000, is the relatively cheap one. Obviously 2,550 is still a lot of money, but it's obviously cheaper than that one. And if we just fade between the two, visually we can see that the handlebars have been replaced with a more conventional stem and bars. The wheels are clearly not as deep section, probably aluminium, we'll check that in a minute. The saddle's obviously changed. That's the Pro logo scratch, and that's some Merida branded saddle. Don't really like the look of that one. That one looks way better, obviously more expensive. And the group set on this is Ultegra front and rear derailleur, but the crankset is that heavier, cheaper, non-Ultegra version that Shimano make that I've mentioned before. Which is a bit of a shame, but I guess they've got to keep the price down. Now if you compare this 5000 to the outgoing version, it's all pretty much the same, I think. So it's basically the colour scheme that looks like it's changed. Oh, and the price on this version has actually gone up a bit, 2,450. 2,550. So the 5000 has gone up 100 quid. So if you actually compare the team and the 5000 on the Merida website, the UK website, even though the frame and forks look very similar, team version is actually made of the CF5 carbon and the 5000 is made of the CF3 carbon. Same with the forks. So there we go, that's fair enough, I guess. Moving down, the 5000 has got the Ultra Sport 3 tyre from Continental. The team has got the Grand Prix 5000s from Continental. Now they've got TR written there, tubeless ready. Now as far as I know, the Continental Grand Prix 5000S is either a TL, tubeless tyre, or it is a clincher. So I'm not really sure where the TR has come from, because when I look at the tyre, that just looks like the clincher version to me. There we go. Looking down the list, it all looks as we'd expect. Dura-Ace Di2 versus Ultegra, apart from the crankset as we pointed out. And then it looks like the team comes with a bottle cage. Can't see it in the photo, but the 5000 doesn't. So there we go, that's the Reacto team in its new colours and the Reacto 5000 in its new colours. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about that, and let me know whether you would have the Reacto or would probably actually go for the Sculptura. Which do you prefer? In other news, Team Ineos and the Grenadiers have decided they're going to ride disc brakes from now on their Dogma Fs. And here's a Dogma F with the new Dura-Ace on it. Another unbelievably expensive bike. Woohoo! Now if you watch any of Durham Rider's videos at all, you'll know that he is adamantly a rim brake road rider. Can't understand why the professional peloton would ever use disc brakes. He is very vocal about this. In fact, he's probably the most vocal person on the internet about this. There we go. It all will depend on what you believe is the right thing. But he does say a few things in this video that I possibly really don't agree with, like rim brakes have better modulation and stuff like that, which is all a little bit... yeah. In my opinion, over the last few years, pro riders have started to get used to the disc brakes and have maybe found that they have more control coming down mountains in the wet, and that the guys left on rim brakes have maybe struggled to keep up with them. And personally, I think that's why Ineos will have made the switch now. Plus the fact that if the manufacturers are to be believed, these bikes are now at the UCI weight limit, so why not use the disc brakes? Comment down below on your thoughts on this, and remember to keep it polite. In more other news, Tony Martin has retired. Great rider, one of my favourites, but after coming off 3 times in the Tour de France, one of those times basically being taken out by a woman on the side of the road with a cardboard box, he's decided to call it a day. and fair play to him. He's taken his cycling to the extreme and basically morphed himself into the shape of a T-Rex, all in the name of cycling. This photo here is actually taken from the mixed team relay from the World Championships this week, which Mr. Aero Dan Bigham was taking part in as well, and everybody was quite bemused by what he had shoved down his skin suit here, and it turns out that he had his radio. He obviously chose the biggest radio that he could find, because if you fill in this shape under here, apparently it's more aerodynamic. But it does look kind of weird, and Dan went full Bob. And if you don't get the Bob reference, then you need to watch Fight Club. So I've just sorted out your Friday evening, and you can thank me in the comments down below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, then please do. Until next time.